current Power 5 head coaches, the best and worst against the top 25. So we've got one Josh Heupel coming in at number 7. He is 8-7 against top 25 team. That's a 53% winning percentage. Pretty good. Did it surprise you at all that Josh Heupel is on this list as 7th best in the nation? You win 50% of your games against top 25. You're in pretty good company. We'll get to the others that rank ahead of Heupel and behind him. But what did you think of Josh Heupel being number 7? It's one of those stats that you kind of know, but you don't really know. I think that's pretty strong considering he was at UCF and that he's rebuilding at Tennessee. What were your thoughts on that?
This genuinely shocked me, honestly. It largely shocked me because I didn't realize he had coached so many games against top 25 teams. Now, if you go down the list, the other coaches have coached a lot more games against the top 25 because most of them have been coaching at the Power 5 level for a lot longer. But Josh Heupel, I mean, Dave, I couldn't think of 15 games he would have coached against the top 25. So for him to have 8 wins against them is really, really impressive. And again, 8-7 is, I did not see, there's only one of 9 coaches with winning records against the top 25 right now. And Josh Heupel is on that list. That's just something that, I mean, genuinely, I did not expect to see. And, you know, it leads to, it's a couple of things. A lot of the coaches on this list, there is a debate over, remember, sometimes you can be in a league where you face top 25 teams, but they're lower level top 25 teams. For instance,
you're reading my mind right now. Go ahead.
Yes, exactly. Ryan Day is number 1 on this list. Y'all know how I feel about Ryan Day. I think the Big Ten always has those lower level Big Ten West teams that creep into number 20 and number 21 right around there. And Ryan Day's and Ohio State's always able to blow them out. And they're not really top 25 caliber. But if you're Josh Heupel and you're playing Alabama and Georgia 2 years in a row, you're not really playing lower level top 25 teams on a regular basis. So I think this might be a little more legitimate.
No, very true. And Ryan Day is number 1 on the list. And that leads us to 4 downs. And it's brought to you today by our friends at Zen Sports.
4 downs. 4 questions. 4 answers. The Dave Hooker Show.
4
downs. A presentation of offthehooksports.com.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and start with a first down. And, of course, Cooper Mays is going to help us get through this. No, he doesn't call the downs or even the snap counts. But to me, that's what makes it funny. So let's get to Cooper Mays right now. And, Cooper, what do you think? What down are we on right now?
Coop here. First down.
Thank you, Coop. Is this a fluke? Is this a fluke, Caleb Calhoun, that Josh Heupel is number 7 in the nation against top 25 teams? Is it a fluke? Yay or nay?
No, I'm going to say no with him because one of those top 25 wins is Alabama and another one is Clemson. And you can't really overrate those.
No, and I'm going to say absolutely not a fluke because I'm going to take it as a career view. And that is that, again, he was at UCF. So he's kind of got one hand tied behind his back against top 25 opponents. They just don't have the resources. They're getting there. And then he was at Tennessee in a rebuilding mode. So I don't think it's a fluke. I think you'll see him on this list 5 years from now. When we get to second down, I want Cooper to bring us in, of course, but it's brought to you by Zen Sports, the new sports book in Tennessee, revolutionizing the way you earn sports betting rewards. That means no more deposit bonuses that turn into deposit nightmares on Zen Sports. What you see is what you get, and with their cash rewards program, you get a lot of cash. For a welcome bonus, earn an unlimited 5% cash back on your betting volume for your first 15 days when you sign up with the code HOOKED. That's right. Unlimited 5% cash back. Keep betting, keep earning with up to 3% cash back on your betting volume every month after that. And refer friends to earn a percentage of their betting volume as cash rewards too. Zen Sports is bringing the cash back to Tennessee. So if you bet big on sports, you want to be betting on Zen Sports. Zen Sports betting just got better. And we remind you, please support our advertisers. We greatly appreciate it. And they do too. What down, Coop?
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
And I was reading your mind earlier because I know where you're going. Most overrated on this list. So let me give you the list. Number 1 is Ryan Day, Ohio State. Kirby Smart, number 2. Pardon me. Nick Saban, number 3. Lincoln Riley at USC is number 4. Dabo Swinney, Clemson, number 5. Chip Kelly, UCLA is 6. Then Heupel, Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M is 9. Mel Tucker at Michigan State is a surprising 10. Okay, so most overrated on this list. You want to? I bet you're going to say somebody that's name rhymes with Brian May.
Well, he's tied on this list, funny enough, because there's another coach on this list who I think is pretty overrated, and that's near the bottom, and his name rhymes with Wimbo Misher. I don't know.
Good old Wimbo Misher. So is Ryan Day the most overrated? Because what you said was absolutely true. Top to bottom, you could make an argument that the Big Ten was better last year than the SEC. Now, at the very top, I think the SEC was clearly better, having 2 elite teams, maybe 3, maybe 4, that were right in the hunt for the college football playoff. So, but you're right. Ryan Day, it seems like every single week he's playing a number 21 blank. So there are a lot of wins against lower level top 25 teams.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think this comes in. The reason and that's why I put Jimbo Fisher in there too, because if you remember, the same held true for the ACC for years. So when Jimbo Fisher was at Florida State, I mean, he beat Duke one year when they were in the top 25. Like, come on. Okay, so that was that one year Duke, how they won the Big Ten Coastal or the ACC Coastal with David Cutcliffe. So I'm thinking, when those are your top 25 wins, it's hard for me to quantify it. So yeah, Ryan Day is very high I think Ryan Day and Jimbo Fisher are tied for this. And Ryan Day is going to be higher because he has a better win percentage overall. So yeah, he's more overrated. And whatever you want to say about Jimbo Fisher, he's got a national title. And so, I mean,
true. I would go Ryan Day. I would have, because of the national title, I would give him a clear-cut number 1 as far as the most overrated. Coop, what down is it?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. 3rd down.
Okay, so this may sound like a weird question, but who's the most underrated coach on this list? The most underrated coach, the guy that you think is somebody you'd go out and hire, but on this list, maybe they're not as well represented. I'm going to go ahead and go first. I think it's Josh Heupel. And that, if you want to give me a close second, I probably would go along the lines of a Chip Kelly at UCLA, even though I think his best of times are behind him. But I think it is Heupel. I mean, I think he's the most underrated coach on this list. I think that the average football fan that lives in Montana may not know about Josh Heupel, but he's probably heard of Dabo Swinney, Saban, Smart, Ryan Day, because they've been around in the spotlight a little bit longer. But I go Josh Heupel.
Okay, so I have to agree with you. By default, I have to agree with you with Josh Heupel, but, LSU homer Caleb Calhoun jumping in here and saying that Brian Kelly is also still underrated to me. I mean, I still remember when LSU opened up the checkbook to get him, and a lot of people thought it was weird that they opened up the checkbook. And I'm like, I had to open up the checkbook years ago for Brian Kelly. So it's close between those two, because again, when you're at Notre Dame, when they're playing top 25 programs, they're playing legit top 25 programs, and usually they're genuinely outmatched. Notre Dame is. So to have a winning record against the top 25 means something for Brian Kelly.
What down is it, Coop?
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
How will Tennessee do this year against top 25 teams? So let's take a look at the schedule for just a second. Now, I think they're going to be underdogs to Alabama because it's in Tuscaloosa, Georgia as well, because Georgia's Georgia right now. As far as other teams, they might be underdogs to. I'm having a little bit of trouble finding another one, maybe at Florida because it's in Gainesville, but I think they'll be underdogs to just 2 teams this year. Does that sound right to you?
Well, we're going to talk about this later in the show, but there's a projection that they will be underdogs to maybe 4 teams this year, and I'm trying to figure out where that comes in. But as far as top 25 teams are facing, Yeah, Florida will probably be in the top 25 by default. Georgia will be in there. Alabama will be in there. I think South Carolina will be in there too because of how they finished the season. And then there's Texas A&M and Kentucky. So, I mean, I think you're looking at Florida, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Alabama, Kentucky, and Georgia. I think you're looking at 6 teams that Tennessee plays that could be top 25 teams this year. And if all those 6 are in there, I think they're beating Florida. I am pretty positive they're beating South Carolina and Texas A&M. So, I think they go 4-2 this year versus top 25.
I could see that. We'll get into that a little bit more. As far as the 2 teams will be underdogs to, I think Alabama's a coin flip because it's in Tuscaloosa and it's a revenge game, and Georgia is Georgia. So right now, Travis says Brian Kelly is overrated. That's a clear shot at Caleb Calhoun. So we're going to post that at the top of the list. The top comment today, so fill them in there, will receive a Hooker t-shirt for Hendon or Dave or my son Trammell, whatever you choose. There you go. As far as the worst on this list, you want to give us a quick rundown on that because there's a Tennessee tie to worst against top 25.
Yes. So number 1 is Mike Loxley at Maryland. I'm a Terp graduate. He's 2-23 against the top 25. But part of that is him going 0-7 against New Mexico when he was in New Mexico, and that's not a good job. So Jeff Halfleaf, Boston College, 1-9. Matt Rule at Nebraska, 2-16. But again, he was at Temple and he had to rebuild Baylor, so I'm giving him a break. Tom Allen at Indiana, 3-23. Again, Indiana, I'm not going to judge him too harshly. Number 5, everybody, who's ready for it? Greg Schiano, at Rutgers, 4-27 against the top 25. Dave, did you know Greg Schiano gave up 63 points to Butch Jones in 2010?
I'm aware of that. Is he liked at all by Tennessee's fan base right now, or is he still the hated one?
Greg Schiano or Butch Jones? Because I think they're both pretty hated.
Well, I would say Schiano is where I was going. I know that Butch Jones is pretty much hated, and I don't blame him whatsoever. So, Schiano to me is, aside from all the stuff at Penn State, and I don't know that I've said this publicly before, he would have been a very average hire. He would have been a Butch Jones success type of hire, a very different person, but he would have had that sort of success. So,
and he also has a track record of being a bit of a snake too, though. Remember what he did with Josh Freeman when he made up a story about Josh Freeman being a drug addict because he was trying to devalue him on the free agent market when he was
true. And I also remember when I called the Don Bosco head coach to do an interview with several of his players. And I said, I know the coaches are there and I don't know exactly what the schedule is. And he said, well, every coach from Rutgers is here except for Greg Schiano. He didn't even tell his own coaches that he had taken the Tampa Bay job. And they're on a recruiting visit while he's flying to Tampa. That's not a great dude, Caleb. I hate to tell you, but if I make a major, well, I'd love to tell you, if I make a major career move, you will know it from me before anybody else, but no plans to do so.